Hey, tubers and footers. Look who's stuck in bed again. Surprise. Oh well. Good time for another pillow talk. I was watching a show with my friend last night, and I've come across this topic many times, and I have this certain philosophy about relationships and what the media or I shouldn't say the media, but what storytelling has done to relationships. Um, Primarily Disney type movies, any of your romance type movies, things like that. They've set society up for failure. Because if you look at, let's just take like a Disney perspective. So, a Disney perspective, you have a female who, whether strong willed or not, has to have the prince come and save her. And it has to be the prince, and he has to be charming and whisk her off to this castle. Okay. So now you've got this narrative where every single female expects a prince to come and whisk him off to some castle. And that narrative is embedded in every female's in the back of their mind, in our deep in our subconscious. And so, seriously, like my hair. Seriously, how are men supposed to compete with that? You can't. You can't compete with fantasy. And it's the same way around as women and porn stars and things like that. Women cannot compete with porn stars. Um, there's this horrible dynamic going on in our society that is tearing beautiful relationships apart. And we as humanity need to step up. We really do. We need to step up on many levels. Our honor, our dignity, our respect for one another and ourselves is being destroyed. And we keep allowing these narratives to keep playing out. And at some point, even as a writer, I have spoken out loud on the Writers Guild that we should take this power, with responsibility, because you are setting a tone when you create these narratives that people have these false expectations that no one can meet. And so, it's not fair. Then you also, with that dynamic, you have women feeling like they have to compete for the same guy. And that's horrifying because all it does is keep women from uniting and coming together and creating a beautiful community, because that's what women do. And when women unite, there's not a damn thing we can't get done. And so, whether the forces that be do it on purpose or not, I don't want to get into conspiracy chatter, but at some point we need to reflect on what we are filling our brains with. Now, when my husband and I had our child, we took it very seriously, and we did not, even in the day of technology, fill his brain with a bunch of crap. We were very careful what went into his brain, because as children, their brains are growing and they're forming, and there's a lot that they don't need to be inundated with. And our society is drowning our children in this crap. And at some point, it's going to blow up in our faces if we don't get a grip on it rather quickly. And so now we're in this COVID environment. My son's 18 years old, and we've got this Me Too environment that's gone through. And how are men supposed to respond right now? How are men supposed to act and be assertive as a man when they're gonna be called sis or whatever the hell. I'm sorry, but someone comes up to my son and I will slap them violently across the face. This gender crap is getting society spun in a direction we don't need to go. I have a philosophical reference of seeing all of societies they create these great massive societies and they end up collapsing because they get too big and they cannot upgrade accordingly. And that is where we are. And if we do not upgrade accordingly, this is going to blow up in our face. We have an opportunity ahead of us. We have technology, we have intellect, we have history, we have data, we have so much to go on and so much potential. And we need to start having these discussions. What are we filling our brains with? What kind of narrative are we telling our kids? How are we raising our society? What kind of communities do we live in? Do you know your neighbor? These kind of things. We need to start really thinking. And I'm terrified by this war on education because it seems like there are people that are attacking intellectuals. And that is a clear red flag warning. Our society is going backwards. And if we, as each of us as individuals, don't take it upon ourselves to become intellectually stimulated and stimulating to one another and have intellectual conversations with one another, we are going to keep repeating these narratives that are holding us back or yarding us in the reverse when we need to go forward. And I don't know if this helps anyone out there, but my husband and I, we have a beautiful relationship, and it is due to the fact, A, we love each other with all our heart, mind, and soul, and B, we communicate. Communication is a skill, and it is not taught, and we see it roll out in society in how people treat one another. And I really think it's flawed. Our education system is flawed. Everything has been built to create consumers, and now it is blowing up in everyone's faces. And so we as individuals can take this opportunity to decide what kind of society we want to live in. What kind of environment do we want to raise our children in? What kind of future do we want to build and have and look forward to? Just something to think about. But if we don't start getting a grip on this stuff and start recognizing the pitfalls and the holes in the roads and the failures we're setting ourselves up for, we're just going to keep repeating the mistakes. And so I would really, really challenge each of you as an individual when you're looking at a story on the screen or in a book or whatever, and it's playing out, look for those little details in there about how the one prince comes to save the girl, and inevitably there will be females fighting over that one prince. And so that narrative has gotten old, tired, and worn in my mind, and I'm just done with it. And so I think a lot of progress can be made if once women unite again and become a strong force in our communities. Because when women come together, there's not a damn thing that we can't achieve. We bring life into the world. That speaks volumes. All right, enough pillow talk for the day, tubers and footers. I will chat with you later. My big goal today is hopefully I can make it into the shower and maybe play with some makeup and get some stuff done, but we'll see about that. See you later, tubers and footers. Never give up.